Hello and welcome to this sustainability talk here at the AIJA half-year conference in Gothenburg. My name's Jane Cunningham and I'm absolutely delighted to have these two experts here with me today. I have Katarina Thorstensson, who is the Smart Tourism and Sustainability Strategist here at Gothenburg & Company, which is the Gothenburg Convention Bureau, and has been supporting the conference here in Gothenburg this year. And delighted that we have Dino Serafini, who is the AIJA Sustainability Officer. So first of all, Dino, it would just be great to hear a little bit about your role, and also the talk is about sustainability. Can you tell me about the goals of AIJA?
Yes. I'll try to be short, but thank you, Jay. Thank you, Katarina, for being with us AIJANs today. I'm a lawyer mainly, so what I do in life it's advising on law and corporate law. But the story with AIJAN sustainability started for me in the organization of the Rome Annual Congress in 2019. So when we say 2019, we look backwards to all the years that take to organize such a great event. And it was a first moment where we looked systematically of the topics of sustainability and the law. What does it mean for a lawyer to be sustainable? And how could an organization of lawyers that meets globally, travels, exchanges, go to very nice and prestigious locations, that's the one we are now, how could all this be sustainable? And so we started discussing in Rome. Discussions went on. Then COVID was COVID time was a moment of a reality check for everyone. And so with our first immediate past president, François Barré, we had discussions specifically on what were the goals of the association for the next year. What could we do to be sustainable? So we started working. It was Daria Capotorto, Ugo Teixeira, all the AIJA friends know them very well, so no introduction. And myself that had discussions with François and the Bureau, the AIJA management body. And in Zurich Annual Congress last year, 2021, it was decided to create this Sustainability Officer position. The Sustainability Officer is basically the person that touches base with everyone, makes sure the projects are duly completed in time, and actually it's just one face to put for everybody that wants to be involved about sustainability and be engaged in the AIJA's plan. We will go into details in a few ideas that we have. What are the AIJA goals? It's a question that perhaps will be answered at the end of this discussion. It will come from our discussion, but in general we have a bottom-up approach. So we want to deliver specific contents, deliver specific achievements, and we are here to offer to everyone in the association and all the external stakeholders the opportunity of living in a sustainable association with sustainable goals.
It's fantastic and really forward-thinking. And as you said, during the pandemic, it did make people think, what can we change in our association? Yes. And I think it's forward-thinking for associations as well to have a sustainability officer. It's not that you hear about that with a lot of associations. So I think that's it's really good that AIJA are taking a stand and doing this.
One note that we actually received from other associations is that they were somehow interested in the fact that the sustainability officer is a peer, is a lawyer, and not an expert of sustainability. So green events, we will hear some very interesting facts about green events, but they are extremely complex things to manage. And there is no way a corporate lawyer, even a corporate sustainability lawyer, as I want to be or become, could do that himself. But the idea that the sustainability officer is a member of the association is really because sustainability is for every member of the association to engage with. And so that's why it happened this way.
Absolutely. So here we are in Gothenburg, and it's a great opportunity to talk about, AIJA. It's very much about the community. It's very much about people coming together. So there have been lots of great initiatives put in place, working very closely with Gothenburg. I don't know if perhaps you can share what you're doing here.
I think that Gothenburg can speak for itself in the sense that I'm really now relating to the experience of experts in this field. But what is great is that we found each other absolutely on the same page when it comes to the importance of staying relevant to local communities, to local suppliers, understand what is the impact in terms of positive and negative externalities for local communities hosting such big events. So I would say nothing more, but let you talk about it.
Thank you. We're really happy to host the AIJA Community and Conference here in Gothenburg. And as you said, Jane, it's really forward thinking for an association to have a sustainability person on board and really dedicated to this issue. So it's been a great pleasure to work with you and to collaborate. We are really used to, since we have been working on this issue for 10, 15, 20 years, we are really happy to have sort of a partner that aims for the same goals and have the same agenda as we in the city and in the DMO CVB have. So it's been really good for us as well. It's been a fruitful collaboration. And what's important to us is that we can use the meetings and events to drive change, to make change happen, both within the industry, when it comes to suppliers, but also, or maybe even more important, to drive important issues within the destination and the community of Gothenburg. So it's been really good, I think, for both us as a DMO and a city, and for the association as well.
I couldn't agree more. And Gothenburg is the greenest, it's the most sustainable venue in the world for hosting conferences and events. So this has been great. And I think also that when we discuss about sustainability of the events in AIJA, I really I'm there supporting as much as I can, but the great chunk of work is actually the experience that we have in association, and I was astonished to learn so much from them, is the AIJA team. So the people of the AIJA team working on events, they have an incredible knowledge about how to organize an event in a way that is sustainable. And they go, I follow them, and that they go even beyond sustainability with one word that is exceptional for me, that is legacy. So what are we living here when we have stopped polluting as less as we can, but we have stopped polluting during our event? Because events are a very polluting business per se. So on the one side, we have the reduction of emissions, and it was great to work with you in this specific respect. On the other side, we have the positive externalities, the relationships that are built with local communities. And we want to do even more about that.
Absolutely. And I think legacy is a topic that's been coming up more and more within destinations because it all comes back to relevance. Why do we have our destinations doing what we're doing? And how does that benefit, I suppose, the citizens that are living in the city? And how can we use events such as AIJA, such as your global network of lawyers? How can we really think differently about them all coming into the city? What partnerships can we create? What networks can we build so that once you've left and everybody's gone home, as you said at the start, that there's a longer lead. I don't know if you can share any examples of what events mean to Gothenburg.
I mean, they mean really much, because it's so much about getting knowledge to the city and those one living here, and attract talent and investments, of course. So there are more values than the traditional tourism industry economic values, of course. And as for AIJA, for example, you have the theme of the future of mobility, which is really spot on to Gothenburg, since we have ambitious goals on becoming climate neutral in 2030, and we have a global leading automotive industry with, I know you had Polestar and Volvo and Wireless Car representing in the conference. So this is extremely important to us to sort of match the events with the strengths and the challenges that the city has. So I believe this is a perfect match for us. So it's not always the volume that is important. It's also the edge and the added value to the destination and the community as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's when you feel like it's this triple helix going on. You've got the local organising committee, the specialists in their areas. You've got the AIJA team, Fanny, the team, they know exactly what they want to achieve and the questions they want to ask. And then you've got the community, the destination community, which is Gothenburg in this case, having this discussion to say, how can we all work together to really, you know, elevate what we're doing and to make a broader impact.
Yes. And an example to that, very specific actually, so it's not really representative of the complexity of the case, but is one of our main problems as association is that if we consider events only or mainly from the perspective of the impact we are making when traveling to the destination, which technically under many laws will not fall under what AIJA is accountable for because it's an activity of external, but it's okay. No, so I want to refrain from this approach. So we are not advocating that we are sustainable already. We are not trying to defend that. And absolutely the role of sustainability officer is not to be the greenwashing lawyer of the association. Is the one that is a bit of pain for the others in terms of organization. And thanks God I'm in good company of painful people reminding others their duties. But when we thought, okay, we're traveling to Gothenburg from many continents. We have Asian, African participants, American participants. So it's really, people flew to Gothenburg from very far destination. We wanted to compensate here where we are polluting ultimately, or where we are polluting the most. So with the help of our great local experts, what we did was to select a set of projects we could invest in, and we have invested in the purchase of biofuel for the airport of Gothenburg and research and analysis initiatives linked to that. So again, we're in the realm of mobility, we are relevant to the topic, and we wanted to see how we can offset our carbon emissions. So offsetting is the very first step that we can take, and it's very far beyond what is legacy and sustainability we want to achieve, but also the first step was the first step in the direction of Gothenburg, in the direction of local communities. So that's an example, and it's setting the way for the future. So we want to increase as much as possible the positive externalities and reduce to net zero is our goal as well. It will be the goal of all global organizations actually, in a way or another. But this is the way we are looking at. Stay local, stay relevant, and be global in doing that, establishing relevance as the criteria for our choices.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there because no one is perfectly sustainable. I think you can't sort of state that I'm sustainable, more or less sustainable. But I think also that the choices that you make on the destination is really important to sort of mitigate. It is important what choices you make, what you buy at the destination to sort of mitigate as much as you can, because we need to meet as well. It is in the meetings things happen. It is where we find the solutions and overcome barriers.
Absolutely.
So we need to meet, but we should meet and travel responsibly, of course.
I think we are looking at a very specific point here in the sense that we are looking at an association that has been standing for almost 60 years now. And the meeting part is the part from which the association gets most of its revenues. It's also one of the most important elements for our members, for us lawyers, to go meet peers, discover new markets, new opportunities. Something that, again, the AIJA team did a tremendous work on the online reality during COVID times. But everyone that we meet these days is happy about being able to see each other, to discuss, and to grasp also element of each other's personality that online simply don't go through. But the important element for us is also the part that is, as I said, before and after an event, and even separate from events. So when we look at legacy, we have a few initiatives in mind now. that have three main aspiring principles. So we have a bottom-up approach. So it's from the ground up. We don't want to establish cold rules for everyone to follow, for the moment at least. But we really want to create a community of engaged members that sees the opportunity in sustainability and decides to learn from what we show them event by event and adapt their choices to this. This goes with the co-participation principle, with like the sustainability officer is only there so that you know who to call, who to send your email to, and then we can work together in this direction. And the third element is the fact that it is impossible for a lawyer to structure a viable and durable business if she doesn't account for sustainability for itself. So when we are looking at what we can do a lot in terms of research, in terms of production of work that is linked to sustainability, and also, and I will go into detail from one specific initiative we have now, actually we can do our job. Lawyers are defending rights of people, communities, the environment. So we have thought about a way that we can structure that in AIJA that is absolutely in the direction of legacy.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I think it's great that also you started in your role last year. You've come to the event here. You know, it's causing this ripple effect. You're inspiring change within the community. You know, you're going to take the learnings from Gothenburg then on to Singapore, the next meeting. But there's also a number of different initiatives that you're doing on a broader sustainability when we're looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals that AIJA are putting in place. Perhaps you could share a little bit around that.
Much with pleasure. And I think it's a nice way to tackle an event as difficult and yet very promising as Singapore to organize. What we want to do now, is one of the projects, is on the one hand is work with local communities of lawyers that already are doing good by pro bono services and mostly by impact law work. So impact is not necessarily a work for free, but is an activity, a legal assistance that is creating positive externalities for the environment, for the society at large. And it's done by specialist lawyers that are like developing a new, relatively new professional dimension that is that of the impact law. That is amazing, and we met many of them in our workshops that we organized over time. So what we want to do is to learn from them and to offer our members the possibility to regain the purpose they perhaps think is missing in their life, or teach others how to include purpose in their activity. Practically speaking, we have an online platform for business referral opportunities. What we will do is to implement a subsection dedicated to pro bono work and impact work, where a lawyer working in a worthy project can post what he is doing and invite lawyers from other firms, even other jurisdictions, to donate a number of hours, to commit to this initiative, and then work together. And even if in your firm you can't do that, you will be able to do that as a project-specific secondee in the other firm. This is a great opportunity to market your pro bono and impact activities for those who are already doing that. It's a great way to do networking again, to establish business relationship. Way easier for somebody to prove his case to be a viable business partner while working than during a cocktail or on a dance floor. Or, at a conference, that's easier. And of course, when you are going to a location, you are going to Singapore, you can meet with the local bar and say, hey, invite your young members to join our association. They want to do impactful work, we have an opportunity for them. They do that already, we can bring you, support us from our great network of almost 4,000 lawyers in 95 countries plus.
It's brilliant to hear, because I love when you find those initiatives that is sort of core to your business or your association, and you can use that to both do good and to transform society. So it's really, I love that.
I think you meet with any sort of organization. So you have seen that each specific profession, work environment, type, structure of organization, companies, non-for-profits as AIJA, have their own take on sustainability.
Yeah, of course.
So it's very interesting to also for us to talk to you and Jane. I know also you care a lot about legacy.
Yeah.
I learned about that.
Could I add just something? Because
Yeah.
I think we sit on a twofold sort of mission, being a CVB and a DMO. We have both the sort of destination and the long-term development of our city and society, but we also have to see to the industry, the tourism industry and the hospitality industry. And I think a good example is actually the venue we're in right now. They are really sort of into the green parts of sustainability, but also they're really onto human rights, and they are core as well to what's going on in our hotel. So they have a real proactive work on trafficking, for example. So and also inclusion work. So really welcoming and including. So that's also another example of sort of sticking to your core business and use that to transform and work on your sustainability issues.
Absolutely. And this makes me think of all the other phases of sustainability in AIJA that are like these days. I've been talking to people about our initiatives and everybody is happy about them. It wants to criticize them before being able to support in the best possible way and discuss. But we have a great diversity and inclusion officer. We were both appointed in Zurich. It's Francesca Salerno. So we both were members of the OC from Rome that was led by Manuela Cavallo and Milena Prisco, that today is a great expert about sustainability. She's an ESG and sustainability lawyer, heading a very prominent firm in Italy in this respect. And I look up to her a lot to see where to go. And then we have the Human Rights Committee that has been involved in this forever. We have the Employment Law Committee, the Immigration lawyers, the Environmental and Energy Commission is very active in that. And fair taxation is a topic that also it's very important to sustainability. So and I of course also family law. And it's everyone really. What we are now doing in discussion with the first commissions that I mentioned specifically, but it's for everyone in the association, is to create a platform of shared knowledge, and that somebody thinking of naming the AIJA ESG or sustainability. I like sustainability more than ESG, better than ESG, library. So we want to create a research center dedicated to sustainability and the law. The launch initiative is linked to the recent publication by the European Commission of a draft directive on corporate sustainability and due diligence in the environment and human rights. So we will be organizing, together with the M&A Commission, Corporate M&A Commission, Environmental Law Commission, Human Rights Committee, employment law, they don't know yet, but you will learn about that more. A country-by-country survey where we'll be inviting one firm from each country to comment on what is the status in their jurisdiction before this directive is approved and into effect in any case, so that we will map to date what are the gaps that will need to be filled by local legislators, and we'll have a base from the research materials collected by all these countries, the European Economic Area and suppliers in the European Economic Area, so many companies. And we will have a first base of our continuum studies around corporate sustainability and due diligence. And every year we will be monitoring the implementation at national level. And afterwards, we will be, once the directive will be so we will now be monitoring, doing this gap analysis, and afterward the implementation. And basically each year you will have an up-to-date report of what's new around sustainability by the AIJA members. And this is an activity with a very low carbon footprint. So let's see, the events are very important, but we really have a fil rouge in between where we go, the destinations we go to, and create actually a network that is there to stay between members, also those that cannot afford expensive trips. So we want to do this, the pro bono initiative, also to be really inclusive with lawyers that are from jurisdictions where the pay is very different.
And I think
compared to others.
it's coming back to what you were saying as well. It's what can we do before?
Yeah.
What can we do during, when everybody connects and is here? And what can we then monitor afterwards? And before this interview, we were talking about that, the next stage of a destination, really saying you've got all the support before and all the conversations that everybody had with AIJA, you've got what's going on here. But the next bit is how can we measure change in a destination as a result of the event coming here? And that's probably, I don't know if you have anything to say on that.
Well, that is really, really hard to measure the change, of course. And then also the city and the destination have their goals with the meeting coming to us. The association have their goals. Some of the goals they match. Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
But to measure those are really, really hard. But I think that the meetings industry, we have entered a new era where the higher goals or the added values are becoming more and more important for the destinations and for the CVBs. So we're into exciting times, I believe. And you, Jane, you are really into this.
I think it's wonderful, and it comes back a little bit to what you were saying as well. It's that, you know, people are excited to hear about the initiatives you're doing. People are more purpose-driven. It feels people really decide, do I want to go to that destination, and why do I want to go to that destination? And if I am going to that destination, what can I do there that actually makes a difference if there's some things I maybe don't believe in or don't align? And I think that's super interesting. And then today we had the interview with Carl-Johan Hagman, and he talked about the world needs more attentive lawyers. And I thought that was such a nice way of putting it.
Absolutely. And if you are telling somebody to pay attention, you have that, don't think about the elephant syndrome, and you will focus on the elephant. And if you're telling somebody you must care about sustainability, they will feel oppressed, as they should, but because it's an overarching, very important and pressing topic. But this is not what an association, a non-for-profit association is about. We want to give everyone, it's really all the people I mentioned before and all those that Hannah, our president now, she's just great. She's been there following up, pushing, asking. We meet regularly, more than once per month. And what we do is really think about how can we become a purpose-driven organization. And we are a purpose-driven organization, but how can this be intertwined with a sustainability reality for the future? So where we want to go, we want to have a net footprint. So we want to start from, we had discussions with the AIJA half-year conference that's happening 1 year from now. And there we want to have already in place a system by means of which AIJA members will be invited by the local partners to join one selected trip that will be the most sustainable possible way to get to the event. And so you will start networking already on your way to the event. And with Edinburgh, that is happening even before this November, just last night we were discussing about, okay, can we start measuring our impact, see what is our carbon footprint in general of the association? With Gothenburg, we already had the opportunity and great guidance on how to measure the impact of our event, and we compensated based on that. So if we think of sustainability like a way of organizing your activities so that our current needs are compatible with the safe and just space for future generations of lawyers to live within planetary boundaries and ensure social foundation. So it's really one of the best ideas around sustainability. Is not risk management, it's not corporate ESG, it's really creating something that is good for everyone. Then we are achieving our mission to give AIJA to the future generations.
Dino,
that's the idea.
It's just fantastic. It's been a wonderful conversation. I know we were only allowed 30 minutes and we're now up. But Katarina, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Gothenburg.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. That's really,
thank you, Dino. Really great conversation. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. Thanks.
We could go on.